YouTube, what's up, man? It's your boy Richardson from Minimum Wage to Millionaire. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here, welcome back. So I just wanted to do a quicker video today just to explain to you guys the difference between the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. When regards to debt freedom and the debt paying journey, you'll probably come across these two terms. Again, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Which one's better? Which one's worse? Which one have I used to pay off my debt? In case you guys don't know, I've been debt free for nearly 3 months now. In fact, it's almost at that 90 days to the day that I've been debt free. So I feel very good. So I wanted to offer my personal insight and my personal opinions on this. So if you're new here, welcome. But if you've been here, welcome back. So let's get straight to it. So I'll explain to you guys what the debt snowball is and the avalanche, and then I'll tell you guys my debt journey and how I used one of them in order to pay it off, and then what I would recommend. So the debt snowball is essentially lining up all your debts from smallest balance to largest balance, disregarding interest rate on those debts, and then paying the smallest amount first. Once you pay it off, so for example, let's say you have your mortgage, let's say you have $200,000 left on it, that's probably going to be your highest balance. Let's say you have a car that's $16,000 left, and then let's say you have a couple credit cards that total about $1,000. In the snowball method, you would tackle on the $1,000 of credit card debt. Even though the credit cards technically will be the higher interest, you'll knock that out. Then you'll go into the $16,000 in car loan, roll that in, and then you'll tackle in the mortgage. Now, the benefit of this is that psychologically, because money is psychology, right? It's behavior. You will feel more accomplished and you'll feel like you're getting things done in a timely manner, regardless of what it is or not, because you're seeing that progress a lot faster, right? When you pay off that first $1,000 on your credit card, it's only $1,000 compared to $217,000 in debt, because again, $1,000 for the credit card, $16,000 for the car, $200,000 for the mortgage. So you only paid $1,000, but because it's one line item, one line of debt that's been cleared off, you almost get this sense of, oh wow, I'm actually going along and knocking these things down, and you are, and it's phenomenal. And that's the thing; it keeps you motivated. And some people argue, well, I don't need the motivation. Sure, but again, everyone's journey, not only in terms of financial independence, but specifically when it comes to debt payoff, works different. Some people, they could stay motivated paying off debt for years. Some people, they look at their debts, they pay off for 2-3 months, they don't see any significant change, and then they're ready to give up. So you can't describe what everyone feels when it comes to debt, and everyone's debt journey is going to be different from the other. So you can't speak for everyone on that. So, but that's the main benefit with the debt snowball. The debt avalanche is a little bit different. Again, you're starting off the same. You're taking all your debts, lining them up, but instead of categorizing them by smallest to largest balance, you're categorizing them from highest interest to lowest interest. So you take them, and let's say in this case, the credit card will be the highest interest. The car would be kind of like probably a little bit lower interest, and then you'll have the mortgage. Usually, hopefully, your mortgage is not, the interest on the mortgage is not too high. So again, using that same analogy we used earlier, again, $1,000 for the credit card, $16,000 for the car, $200,000 for the house. But because you're prioritizing higher interest rates, you're going to tackle on the credit card first, then the car, then the mortgage. Now, you'll notice, and I'll touch upon it later in the video, but I'm sure many of you guys have already noticed it, but let me just continue on with the explanation. So the benefits with the avalanche method is that by you taking on the highest interest first, you're taking the most expensive debt off the table, which is great because not only are you saving money off interest on that debt, but the additional money you would pay towards that interest, you could then take that money and throw it to your next highest interest and pay down. And you'll notice that if you do a side by side, you'll notice that you'll save significantly more interest over the total debt payoff journey going avalanche than going snowball. That is by design because you're taking out the highest interest debt first. Now, the reason why I say this one's going to require a little bit more motivation up front is because you're not going to see those small wins as frequent as the debt snowball. So this is something that you're gonna have to know, and you know yourself better than anyone else. So I could sit there and say, oh, that's easy peasy, but you could sit there and be like, man, that's the challenge of the century. So you know yourself, you know what you have to do, you know what's important to you. So you have to just do it. And that's really the main takeaway out of this whole video is you have to know yourself, know what works for you. If you need the small wins, there's no shame in that. Build your debt payoff around the snowball method. But if you're somewhere where it's like, yo, I want to pay the least amount of interest and get the debt payoff potentially faster, go Avalanche. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. You just have to be honest with yourself. And then once you pick one, you have to kind of stay with it. Some people tend to try to tinker and do these hybrid approaches. That may work, but my philosophy on finances is keep it simple. The more simple you keep it, the less complications, the better the chances of you being able to accomplish your goals from doing that. So that's what I would say. But to tell you guys what I used personally, when I was paying off my debt, started paying off my debt probably like 3-4 years ago. I've always had a good management on my credit card, so I never had high interest on my credit card, so that was a benefit. But of course I had my car loan, which was relatively lower interest rate. I got my car in late 2021 when the interest rates were low. I think it was about 2.5%. And then I took out some personal loans, which ranged between, I think, like 6 and 8%. So I never really had any like significant, super crazy debt. I never took out a mortgage. So for me, my debt journey was a lot more simplified because for one, I didn't have super any high interest debt. And, I always pay my credit cards on time in full. So I never had credit card interest. So it was just between my car loan, which was 2.5%, and then my personal loans, which again, they ranged between 6 to 8%. So I took because the car loan, the one I had was about $16,000 when I first got $13,000 when I first got the car loan, and my personal loans were about $10,000. So the snowball method would tell me, okay, well, $10,000, take the $10,000 debt of the personal loans before the $13,000 of the car loan. The Avalanche, based on the interest, would be, well, the personal loans are between 6 to 8%. The car loan's only 2.5%. So you'll notice, and this is what I touched upon in my both analogies when I explained both the payoff rates, is that sometimes the Avalanche and the snow method kind of chooses you because the way your debts are presented, the same path that the snowball would be the exact same path as the Avalanche. And this is what made it a lot more easy and simple for me, because well, I only had one path, because both paths, it's almost like if you're driving on the road and both paths will eventually merge into one. Well, that's great, because now I don't have to worry about potentially missing out benefits of either. No, I just pay my personal loans first, because that's not only the smallest balance, but that's also the highest interest balance. And then my final debt was to pay off the car. All of that just kind of made sense to me. And that's what I choose. And I know that's kind of a simple and kind of overly simplified explanation, but that was also the truth. But what would I recommend for people to go with? Again, if you need those small wins, you need that just little jolt of electricity, jolt of encouragement throughout your journey, go with the snowball. If you want to pay off debt as fast as possible and hopefully pay the least amount of interest, go as Avalanche. Or in my scenario, you may do both plans, right? Lay both of them out, combine them, and then you'll realize that, wow, they're pretty much the same path. And the final point I want to make in this video is that no matter what path you choose, they're both going to lead you down to the same conclusion, which is paying off your debt. And that's the most important. So that's all I wanted to make in this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's Richardson from Minimum Wage to Millionaire. You guys have a nice day, and may the Lord be with you all today. Thank you.